Morning, guys. So today I'm in my school right now. I'm on a break, and I just had some coffee and some yogurt. And I thought I would like sit down and talk about something that maybe a lot of people wonder about when they're planning to go to another country to teach. And that is like the differences like between schools. Of course, like culture is a very influencing factor, and everywhere you go, like the culture and society of that country will play a big influence. But one thing or a couple of things that I would say that are definitely different here, and you would hear it like if you're planning to come to Spain, or in particular Madrid, to teach, because I don't know about other cities really as of now. But if you're coming to Madrid to teach, just know that the discipline here, like I can only compare to my country, but the discipline here is not as strict, I believe. And I feel like kids get away with a lot, and I think it's basically because many of the schools here are like private schools, or like mixed with like they have like some public funding, but they're basically private. So a lot of the schools that you would work in, unless you're working with Beta, which I talked to you guys about before, because Beta deals with religious schools, Catholic schools. So unless you're dealing with Beta, like most definitely you're going to be in a private school. So in the private school, the parents invest a lot of money, and I think they try to please the parents. So I feel like the students have a lot to say, like they have a lot of waiting, and they just have a lot of I guess like power in the education system here. And I've seen, like, before coming to this position, I was briefly at a school that was really far away, and I didn't like it. But the kids there were like pretty bad, and there was a kid I remember, he actually, like, there was a kid I remember, he stabbed like another kid with a pencil, like here at the side of his head or something, on his temple. And I was like, oh my god. Like, I wasn't in the class, but I was passing in the corridor, and I heard about it, and the teachers, and they were trying to control the wild kid who did the stabbing. And they sent him home. I think this was like maybe a Thursday. They sent him home, and literally, I'm not kidding you, like Tuesday probably, he was back in school. Yeah, I think so. Like, it was like Thursday evening, like they sent him, and like Tuesday he was back in school. And I was like, really? So they sent this kid home for 2 days, like, for doing something like that. Like, that is so, that's such a grave thing that, like, the kid could have gotten, cause yeah, like, I mean, that's your temple, that's like a very important area, that if it's hurt, or if like a vein bursts there, like, you can bleed a lot. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was like very serious, and I felt like they didn't punish the kid enough. But of course, if their parents are paying a lot of money, and the schools are like bowing down to the parents and their money, then I feel like a lot of it is influenced because of like the money and the power that like parents have. So that's one thing, because if that happened, like, I remember if like we fought in my school, like, we would get sent home for like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks or something. Like, it was just definitely more serious, the discipline. So I feel like there's a lack of discipline here. Because even in like secondary school, it's worse. The kids are like more rowdy, things like that. But you can't really, like, you can send them to the principal, you can give them letters to write, but like there's no like expelling, or there's no, not really, like, It's ridiculous, kind of. Another thing, like, that's one thing that you have to like really worry about. But if you're going to be in class with a teacher, it really, really helps because you have like some sort of support. So that's like the more serious side of like the differences, I suppose, when it comes to teaching in another country. But then again, you have to remember that, I mean, it's important to remember like maybe you haven't taught before, like some people maybe they haven't taught like classes before, and you're coming with like a perspective of being a student in the past. So that's my experience because I haven't really taught, I never taught in my own country. So this is my first experience teaching in a foreign country. So I can only like compare based on my memories of being a student. So maybe my classes were really rowdy, bad, I can't remember too much. But in terms of discipline, it's definitely more serious in the past. And things are changing now, so you can't even, like, corporal punishment, like, when I was in high school, or when I was leaving primary school, they abolished it. And here, they abolished that, like, years ago. Like, they don't even speak about that. Like, you can't even talk about hitting your child here. It's crazy. So, yeah, like, you can't even put your hands on a kid. No, like, that's one thing, like, that. They take that very seriously. Like, even to, like, maybe stop a kid or hold a kid on the shoulder or something, they would be like, don't touch the children. Like, okay, So on a lighter note, another difference I would say is that the schools are so huge. In the Caribbean, schools, I would say, I feel like they're more spread. They're more spread out and they're more horizontal, I would say. But maybe 2 floors or, well, when I was going to school anyway. And here, all the schools are like, they're like very vertical. You have like 3 and 4 floors to go up and down, and then they're also like spread out too because this school is very, very big where I am. I'm gonna actually give you guys a tour, not today, but maybe one day I'll give you guys a tour of the school. It's really big. Another difference is that most places, not everywhere, but most places, like if you have a school, they have like all the levels of education in like one building, which, yeah, to me that was a really big difference too, because when I grew up, there was like primary school. Because when I grew up, there was like primary school, and primary school was just like one building. And then there was secondary school, and you had to like move from your primary school building to go to another secondary school, whether it be like 10 minutes away, 30 minutes away. But here, the secondary and primary, it's usually in the same building, but they section it off. So you have maybe primary to the bottom or something like this, and then secondary on top, or you would have like primary to the side and then secondary, like the sections, but it's like one big compound, one big building. And they also have preschool too, so they have like the preschool, and then they have like a block for primary, and then they have a block for secondary, and they even have a block for A levels, we called it, which are the years after you finish high school, those 2 years, which that is normal usually. Yeah, that's very normal to do, to have like secondary and then like A levels, or 2 years after the high school in more or less the same building. That's like a difference too. What can I say? I think for the most part that's it. I can't really talk too much about like more differences with the schools. Oh, the cafeterias. Oh, wow. The cafeterias, cafes, cafeteria. they're so big. Like, all the kids go to eat. Like, I can't remember when I was growing up and I went to secondary school, I would eat in my class. So I guess that's maybe a cultural thing, or I would eat in my classroom on my desk, and everyone else, or they would eat outside, or and here there's this huge cafeteria that fits like all the kids. They get their food. I guess it's similar to American system, you know. So for me, it's like that's a big difference also. Okay, yeah, those are the differences, and I feel like something to consider also is that you're not going to find, like, every school is different, every program is different, and you're going to find, especially if you want to be an English teacher, you're going to find schools that are very dedicated to like English teaching. They're talking to the kids in English, total immersion, like this school, like they're so serious about English immersion. They're always talking to the kids in English, and yeah, like they have like maybe 4 subjects in English, something like this. And then there are other schools that you're not really going to find that. You know, the English level is very, very low, and it's more frustrating. I mean, it's more challenging because you can, and you know, and it's more challenging, and the kids need it. You know, the kids need it. They need the extra help. The kids are like, they're like going on break now, so getting competition. But yeah, it's more challenging for you. So if you want a challenge, fine. But just know it's going to be more frustrating because there are kids who are very closed-minded to like learning English, and it's not really their fault, just their environment, and they haven't been given like that motivation or that push or that environment to want to learn. So, but if you find a school that's really invested in teaching English, it's so worth it because you have that support, you know. So yeah, that's my little break time talk for today. Any questions, you guys can leave it below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.